Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all so much for joining. We'll get started with our Bhakti Vaibhav session. After our Mangalacharan prayers, then we'll go ahead. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रिये ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागररघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदां सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्ताख्यं भक्ताख्यं तमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय दानाय कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लम्बायते गिरिं यत्कृपातं हं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनदयाळुं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यम् हरि ओं तत्सत् Hare Krishna. Thank you once again for your very, very kind association. So we'll get started. We share my screen. So we are today starting the 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1. And this chapter entitled is Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit Saved from the womb of Mother Uttara. So in the last section of our Bhakti Vaibhav, we saw that how Ashwatthama, we saw that how he released Brahmastra, but then it was counteracted, and then how Arjun was encouraged, instigated by Krishna to kill, but then there was various arguments that were brought forward, first by Krishna to kill Ashwatthama, but then when he was brought to the military camp of Pandavas at that time, we saw 6 reasons that Draupadi Devi gave against killing of Ashwatthama. And finally, all the other brothers, they agreed to whatever Draupadi Devi said, and Ashwatthama was released. All the Pandavas, they performed their final rites for the dead sons, and There we actually ended. So here again we'll be starting text 1, Sutta Vacha. Athate samparitanam swanam udakamichhatam dhatum sa Krishna Gangayam Puruskritya Yayustriya. So Sutta Goswami is now narrating it to call this entire pastime to Shaunakadi Rishi, that after that, when Ashwatthama was released, Athaha, after thus, then what happened? Te Samparitana means the dead sons, Swanam, of their own relatives. So now here, not only their sons, but all others who have died in the battlefields of Kurukshetra. Udakam Ichhatam, just willing to offer the oblations, they went. Datum, where they went to deliver. How? Sa Krishna. Sa Krishna means along with Draupadi Devi, they went on the banks of river Ganga, Gangayam. Puraskritya Yayustriyaha, where they put forward all the women in the front. Now, this is again a very, very thing that we have seen in our these days, that hardly the women are, they go to, what do you say, to a cremation ground. But at that time, there was a rule that when the final oblations to the dead relatives were offered, all the women were allowed to go, and these women would go in front during the final rites. So therefore, here also, Sutta Goswami is saying, thus the ladies walked in front. Puraskritya Yayustriyaha. All the ladies, they went in front and followed by all the males. Somebody can read the translation.
Hare Krishna. Sutta Goswami said, thereafter the Pandavas, desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who had desired it, went to the Ganges with Draupadi. The ladies walked in front. Hare Krishna.
So the ladies walked in front. Prabhupada writes in the purport, to date it is the custom in the Hindu society to go to the Ganges or to any other sacred river to take bath when death occurs in the family. So each of the family members, they pours out the potful of the Ganges water for the departed soul and walks in a procession with the ladies in the front. So the Pandavas also followed the rules more than which was 5,000 years ago. So Lord Krishna, being a cousin of the Pandavas, was also amongst the family members. So Lord Krishna, along with all the Pandavas, along with Draupadi Devi, they went and finally offered their final oblations. Even Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary mentions that actually there is the rule that a woman should go in front during the funeral rites. So that was the tradition, and till date it is followed. Text 2. Te ninyayodakam sarve vilapya cha vrisham puna apluta hari padabja rajaputra sarijale. Very simple verses. We'll quickly go through. Yes, somebody can read translation.
Having lamented over them and sufficiently offered Ganges water, they bathed in the Ganges, whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord.
So thank you, Mataji. What they did, they were, of course, they were in grief, they were lamenting, they were in great lamentation, the great distress. But finally, what they did, they offered this Ganga water. And this Ganga water is a very purifying water. They offered it to the departed souls, and also they bathed in the river Ganga. And this river water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So we know that through Bali Maharaj pastime, how when Vamanadev and Vishnu, he took this Trivikrama form. So he pierced with his toenail the Viraja river, the lining that covers that separates the material world and the spiritual world, and Ganga river flows. So this Ganga is nothing but the Charunamrita of the Supreme Lord, because it is mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. Tatrasinam kuru patim dhatrashram sahanujanam gandharim putra shokartam pritham krishnam cha madhava. So here, now Suta Goswami said that who all went. It's not only just the Pandavas who were lamenting for their dead sons, along with Draupadi Devi, along with Krishna, they went. Tatra asinam kuru patim. So first of all, Suta Goswami is saying Tatra asinam, there who was sitting. Asina means sitting. Who was sitting? Kuru patim. So now, after this battlefield of Kurukshetra, who is Kuru patim? This Kuru patim refers to Shiv Yudhishthira Maharaj. So Kuru patim. So who all went? It's Kuru patim, means Yudhishthira Maharaj. He went. And he, along with whom, Sa Anujam, along with all his younger brothers, along with Dhatrashtra, Dhritarashtra also went. Gandhari went. Pritha means our Pritha Devi, Kunti Maharani also went. Krishna, again Draupadi Devi. Krishna, it's not Krishnam, it's Krishnam, right? So Draupadi Devi went Chamadava along with Lord Shri Krishna. For what? Putra Shokartam, for the dead sons, means for the Putra means son Shoka, for the loss of their sons. So who lost their sons? Even Yudhishthira Maharaj, Saha Anujam, all the Pandavas, they lost their sons. Arjun lost Abhimanyu, all the sons were also gone. Dhatrashtra, even Dhritarashtra and Gandhari's sons, Spritham, Kunti Devi. So basically, what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions for this verse is that everybody was in grief. It was not that somebody was happy. Even, yes, the Pandavas, they have won over this battlefield of Kurukshetra and they have got this kingdom, but still there was a great loss from their side also. So it was a unanimous lamentation because everybody lost some of their other dear relatives. And just for that, they went to this river Ganga and took their final bath after performing the final rites. Translation.
There sat the king of the Kurus, Maharaj Yudhishthir, along with his younger brothers and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, and Draupadi, all overwhelmed with grief. Lord Krishna was also there.
Thank you, Prabhupada. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, the battlefield of Kurukshetra was fought between the family members, and thus all affected persons were also family members. So it was not the war that we see of today's world, World War I, World War II, where all the countries they are fighting. This was the war that was fought between the family members. But unfortunately, this was the greatest massacre that happened in the entire history. And not only, yes, the family members were involved, but because it was Dharma Yudh, everybody, all the different kings, they all were involved in this battlefield. So the affected persons were also the family members, like Maharaj Yudhishthir, brothers, Kunti, Draupadi Devi, Subhadra Devi, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, and their daughter-in-laws. Because Gandhari, she had 100 sons and none of them was able to survive, but all the daughter-in-laws were there. So all the principal dead bodies were in same way or other related with each other. And therefore the family grief was combined. So yes, they fought, but still there was a grief. And this war was to establish dharma, dharma samsthapnarthai. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So to establish dharma, so this was a dharmic war. Lord Krishna was also one of them. Why? Because he was the cousin of the Pandavas and the nephew of Kunti, as well as the brother of Subhadra. So even Krishna lost his his sister's son, that is Abhimanyu. So Krishna he also lost his nephew. So the Lord, therefore, was equally sympathetic towards all of them, and therefore, what Lord did, he began to pacify them befittingly. So they all were lamenting, everyone was grieved. It was a kind of a family war, everybody was affected. So now Lord Krishna is solacing them. And how he'll solace, we'll see. Santavyamasha munibhir hata bandhum sucharpitam bhuteshu kalasya gatim darshayana pratikriyam. Somebody can read translation.
Citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings, Lord Sri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who were shocked and affected. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Nishanati. So, citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings, Santavyam Asha Munibhi, all they were giving Santavya, they were giving solace, they were pacifying, along with whom? The Munis who were present. Ata Bandhum Sucharpitam, because all the relatives, they were in deep pain. They were lamenting, they were in great distress because they lost their dear and loved and dear ones. Bhuteshu kalasya gatim. So this is important because all the living entities are under kalagati. They are under kal. So in the next chapter also, in the teachings of Bhishma Dev, the prayers by Bhishma Dev, we will also see that Bhishma Dev also say that it is because of inevitable time. And here also Sutta Goswami saying that all the living entities, bhutasya, kalasya gatim, they are under kala gati. And thus there was no remedial measures. Something that has to happen will happen. So Prabhupada he writes a great detailed purport of how Lord Krishna and along with all the sages, they tried to pacify everybody who was present there because everybody was affected by some or the other loss. But Prabhupada writes, the stringent laws of nature under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be altered by any living entity. This is what is our prarabdha. We have to bear, we are all under the stringent laws of nature, and we have to bear our karmic reactions. The living entities are eternally under the subjugation of the Almighty Lord. No matter the living entity thinks that I am Ishvara, I can be the proprietor, I can be the master, but no. Living entity is always under the Supreme Almighty Lord because He is the Supreme Proprietor, He is the Supreme Controller. The Lord makes all the laws and orders, and these laws and orders are generally called dharma or religion. Not the religion, the concocted version that we see today, that they have concocted their own thing. That is not religion, but Lord that makes the law and order is what is dharma. No one can create any religious formula. It cannot be created. Bona fide religion is to abide by the orders of the Lord. The Lord orders are clearly declared in Bhagavad Gita. That is what is Gita Upanishad, the song of God. Everybody should follow Him only or His orders, and that will make them all happy, both materially and spiritually. As long as we are in this material world, our duty is to follow the orders of the Lord. But if by the grace of the Lord we are liberated from the clutches of the material world, then in our liberated stage, what we can do is we can render service to the Lord. But till the time we are in this material stage, we can see neither ourselves nor the Lord for the want of spiritual vision. But when we are liberated from the material affection and are situated in our original spiritual form, then we can see both ourselves and we can see Lord face to face. So till the time we are in this material world, it's very hard. It's very hard to understand. Why? Because we are bound by the stringent laws of karma or time. Mukti, Prabhupada says, means to be reinstated in one's original spiritual status after giving up this material conception of life. This is important. Mukti not only means getting out of the clutches of the three modes of material nature or getting out of the clutches of the cycle of birth and death. That is not the real mukti. The real mukti is that we have to give up the material conception of life. That is the real mukti. Then what will happen? Even being in this world, we can be in a liberated state. All the Guru Vargas, Srila Prabhupada, though they were in this material world, but they are not of this material world, right? So they are in their liberated state. So whatever they are doing is just akarmic activities, akarma. Akarma means devotional service. Whatever they are doing, they're dedicating it to Krishna. So they are never under the stringent laws of karma. So nobody can bind them. Even in this material world, staying in this material world, they are liberated. Therefore, Prabhupada says, human life is specially meant for qualifying ourselves for this spiritual liberty. Prabhupada never says that, okay, yes, going home back to Godhead, relieving oneself from this samsara chakra, from this cycle of birth and death is good, is what is our ultimate goal. But the point is that our goal is not just to go home back to Godhead. Our goal is to please Krishna, the desire to please Krishna. If Krishna wants me to be back for some specific reason, for some specific purpose, so be it. So we are totally dependent on Krishna. And understanding this is the main purpose of human life. And this is to qualify ourselves for this spiritual liberty. Unfortunately, but what is happening? Just the opposite. Under the influence of illusory material energy, again, illusory material energy. That doesn't mean that this material energy, this Maya Devi is illusory. No, because she keeps all the living entities into illusion, therefore she is addressed as illusory material energy. And then what we happen? Under her jurisdiction, we accept this spotlight of only a few years as to be the permanent existence. We start thinking that whatever 70, 80, 90, 100 years we are living is our eternal existence. My family members are eternal, my possessions are eternal. And thus we become illusioned by possessing so-called country, home, land, children, wife, community, wealth, etc. And what are these? These are just the false representations created by Maya. This is what is the ahankar, the ego that Maya binds us with. We are already in avidya, and that's why we desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. And after having that desire, when Maya Devi facilitates that desire by giving us a certain kind of body along with certain kind of senses, then she puts us into this false identification. This false identification is nothing but ahankar. And when we are under this, then what happened? We fight with one another. Fight to protect these false possessions. We fight. So this is what happened with Duryodhan. If Duryodhan would have agreed to the peace formula that was brought forward by Krishna, who came as peace messenger, then there would have been no war. Even though they have humiliated, they have tormented all the Pandavas, Draupadi Devi, but still Krishna was ready to forgive, to establish that the peace is the ultimate settlement for the entire living entities, for the entire community. Peace is the only measure. But if one side becomes so adamant that they want to go ahead and go to any far distance to get some kind of so-called justice, then nothing will happen. Then the war will take place. And that's what happened in Mahabharata. Because Duryodhan didn't agree, then this war was inevitable. Otherwise, if he wanted, or if Dhritarashtra would have not been spiritually blinded, he was physically blinded. If he would have not been spiritually blinded under the love of Duryodhan, he would have taken the right decision and this war could have been avoided. But by cultivating spiritual knowledge only, we can realize that we have nothing to do with this material paraphernalia. Unnecessary, we are fighting sometimes just for some amount of wealth, some amount of what do you say, the piece of land or some kind of so-called justice. This is nothing. This clearance of the misgivings of material existence at once takes place by association with the Lord's devotees. So, who are able to inject this transcendental sound into the depths of bewildered heart and thus makes one practically liberated from all lamentation and illusion. But how this happens? Only when we are devoted, not in the namesake devotees, because we see even devotees fight. Why they fight? Because they are still under the laws of stringent laws of time, karma. That's why they fight. They have still not understood the process, that unnecessary, what is the use? After all, at the end of the day, everybody has the same goal. We all want to serve. We all want to serve Lord Shri Krishna in whatever capacity possible. So why to fight? Why to have competition? Why to compare with each other? Let everybody grow. Jio or Jeene do, right? Live and let others live. This is what we should think. We should rather uplifting them. What we are doing, we are degrading them. We are bringing them back. Oh, how can that person go spiritually? How can that person go materially? That's not the devotee attitude. So Prabhupada saying that this clearance of the misgivings of material existence at once takes place in the heart of the devotees when they are in the association. But these devotees who really understand the purpose of the human form of life, not the namesake devotees who just claim themselves, go to the temple, okay, even if they are chanting 16 rounds, but still, if they have not understood the real message of Lord Shri Krishna that is given in Bhagavad Gita, and they fight for petty things, then what's the use? Therefore, Prabhupada, before leaving this world, his last instruction was that if you really love me, show your love by cooperating with each other. And today, all those disciples who were hardly in their 20s, and when they took this instruction of Srila Prabhupada to their heart and soul, that's why today we are seeing that ISKCON is still stable. Why? Because the previous means those initial disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they have taken these instructions of Srila Prabhupada, that your love for me to be shown if you cooperate with each other. So that is why we see, otherwise we normally see that some organization comes up and then when the head of that organization leaves, the entire organization departs. It gets separated. And that also we have seen in the case of when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur left. We have the different Gaudiya Math, we have another ISKCON. But what is all this? After all, we are all under the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are all under the shelter of Sri Krishna. So why to fight among themselves? Everybody may have different path. Because if we want to go to a particular destination, we may have different path to go. But ultimately, the destination is the same. Some take longer routes, some take shorter routes. Why to criticize each other? Forget about even in ISKCON, outside ISKCON also, why to criticize? Why to criticize other sampradayas? There is no point. Everybody has their own valid things, their own way of worshipping the Supreme Lord, their own mood of worshipping the Supreme Lord. So there is no point even in criticizing other sampradayas, and we should not do that. Actually, what the first offense we read in Namaparad is to blaspheme the devotees of the Lord who have propagating the holy name of the Lord. That doesn't only quote unquote, talks only about ISKCON devotees. It talks about everybody. It talks about even those who are in Brahman realization, even those who think that Brahman is the supreme. Their knowledge is incomplete, but their knowledge is not wrong. And therefore, Prabhupada says, he quotes them. Tattva Jnanam. He says that they are Tattvavadis. Everybody is a transcendentalist. Prabhupada never said that, oh, don't follow this sampradaya, that sampradaya. He just said that, okay, if your somehow thought process are not aligned, it's okay to maintain that distance. But what is the point of criticizing? There is no point. Everybody has their own path, their own ways, their own journey, their own capacities. Let them follow. This is a simple summary of the pacifying measures for those affected by the reaction of the stringent material laws exhibited in the forms of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, birth, death, old age, and disease, which are insoluble factors of material existence. So this is the classic statement. The victims of war, namely the family members of the Kurus, were lamenting the problems of death. They were lamenting, and Lord was pacifying them on the basis of the knowledge. So how the ignorance is destroyed? Only by knowledge, and especially when this knowledge is given by Lord Shri Krishna himself. So Krishna continues. Sadhyaita jatash ajat shatro swayam rajyam kativi kitavir hritam घाटायित्वा सतो राज्ञ kacha shatashya. Somebody can read translation.
The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthir, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died, their duration of life having decreased by their rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi.
Thank you. Thank you, Narhari Prabhu. Good to see you. The clever Duryodhana and his party usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthir Maharaj, who is Ajata Shatru. So Yudhishthir Maharaj had no enemy, but others were envious of Yudhishthir Maharaj, like our Duryodhana. And that's why he took up this liberty of rough handling them as well as their wife. So Prabhupada, very beautiful in the point form, he tells that in the glorious days or before an advent of the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, cows, women's children, and the children and the old men were properly given protection. That is what is known as dharmic society, when everybody is respected, no matter whether they are Brahmanas, whether they are cows, they are women, they are old people, or they are children. So the protection of the Brahmanas maintains the institution of Varna and Ashrama, the most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. That is how the Brahmanas are protected, because if the Brahmanas are protected, the entire Varnas and Ashrams are protected. And who protects the Brahmanas? Kshatriyas. Their job, the administrative class, their job is to protect the Brahmanas, and all the other classes, they serve each other. Now the cows are also protected. And the protection of cows maintains the most miraculous form of food, that is milk. So Prabhupada says, miraculous form of milk. Because the milk of cow is not just a milk, it's a nectar, it's an amrit. It's amrit, right? For maintaining the fine tissues of brain or for understanding higher aims of life. The protection of women maintains the chastity of society, by which we can get good generation for peace, tranquility, and progress of life. So this was again the fear in the heart of Arjun before the battlefield of Kurukshetra. That if I fight, all these male members that we see on the opposite side, everybody will die. And then what will happen? The woman will become unchaste because there will be no one to protect them. And then unnecessary, unwanted population will grow. Varna Shankara. But if the women of the society, they are protected, then their chastity is maintained and we get a good generation. Then the protection of children gives the human form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from this material bondage. Such protection of children begins with the very day of begetting a child by the purificatory process of Gardhan Sanskar, the beginning of pure life. Again, this point has been stressed time and again by Srila Prabhupada, that Krishna consciousness means if we have entered even in the Grahastha ashram, it's not just for our sense gratification, not just to enjoy the sex, but to have Krishna conscious children. And to have Krishna conscious children means our mindset should be Krishna conscious. And therefore, Prabhupada says that when there is a union that happens between the male and female in Krishna conscious Grahastha ashram, they should undergo this process of Garbhadhana Samskar, where they have this samskar so that the pure and the devotee soul can be attracted. But this is only possible when the mindset is Krishna conscious. And thus the children are protected. So when the generation will be Krishna conscious generation, then naturally the society will be saved. But if children are not protected, if they are not trained properly, then what is the use? That's why the Prahlad Maharaj also says in his when he was teaching to his schoolmates, that right from the beginning, we should give this Krishna consciousness to our children. We should not think, well, they are 2 years, for 3 years, 4 years, what is the use? They will learn Krishna conscious as they grow. No, right from the early age, we have to inculcate that Krishna conscious. Otherwise, the children will have their own mindset and they will go wild. But if their mindset is with Krishna conscious, they are trained in this Krishna conscious, then of course they will get all the moral values. They will imbibe those moral values. They will be trained properly. And they who are the future of the society, they are the future world. So naturally the entire society will be saved. So therefore the protection of children is also very important. And of course the protection of the old men, which gives them the chance to prepare themselves for the better life after death. This complete outlook is based on factors leading to the successful humanity as against the civilization of polished acts and cats and dogs. Otherwise, our society is just a society of animals. We are Duipad Pashu. We are walking on we are two-legged animals if we are not Krishna conscious. But that's not how it should be. And the killing of all the above innocent creatures is totally forbidden, because even by insulting them, one loses the duration of life. And this is what happened with our Dushasan and Duryodhan and all the Kauravas. To insult a chaste woman, Prabhupada says, of course, he talks about this Varna Shankara. Then he says to insult a chaste woman means to bring about the great disasters in the duration of life. Dushasan, the brother of Duryodhan, insulted Draupadi. She was a chaste, ideal lady, and therefore the miscreants died untimely. Now, these are some of the stringent laws of the Lord, which I mentioned above. So here they are trying to pacify. So right now, yes, the pacification, the way they were trying to solace has not started, but actually Krishna and all the munis, they were trying to pacify everybody who was present on the banks of river Ganga. Yajityashvadhe ashvadmedhaistam tribhir uttama kalpakai tad yasha pavanam dikshu shatamanyor evatanot. Somebody can read translation.
Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashwamedha yajnas, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhishthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices.
Thank you, Mataji. So here Sutta Goswami is telling that how Lord Krishna, he helped the Pandavas at every step of their life. Whether it was a war, whether it was saving Pandavas, or whether it was at every step, actually, they were saving Pandavas. Krishna was saving, or whether it is performing the Ashwamedha Yajnas. Now, this, our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that may not be in the chronological order, because here they are saying Lord Krishna caused 3 welled Ashwamedh Yagnas or sacrifices, but this was performed before Draupadi Devi got insulted, before the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So Krishna helped, and Maharaj, he helped Yudhishthira Maharaj to perform this Ashwamedh Yagna, and because of which this caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions. So all these may not fall under the chronological order, but the point is how Krishna was always there to help the Pandavas, to save the Pandavas. Now here they are saying Maharaj Yudhishthira, he performed how many? Only 3. So in the previous verse, we saw that Maharaj Yudhishthira was addressed as Ajat Shatru, right? No Shatru, no enemy at all. Yudhishthira Maharaj performed 3 Ashwamedha Yajnas, but still he was so glorious. But our Indra, he performed 100 horse sacrifices. But still, if we try to see the glory of Indra and see the glory of Yudhishthira Maharaj, definitely the glory of Yudhishthira Maharaj supersedes. And in the fourth canto, we will also see that how Prithu Maharaj was also trying to perform these Ashwamedha Yajnas, the horse sacrifices, and he did 99. He was about to do 100. But then when Lord Indra came and he stole the horse, and he didn't want Prithu Maharaj to perform 100 sacrifices. So yes, up till now, it's only Indra who has performed Ashwamedha Yajnas, these 100 horse sacrifices. But still, the glory of the devotee is much more higher. And that is what Prabhupada writes in the purport. This is something like a preface to the performance of Ashwamedha Yajna by Yudhishthira Maharaj. The comparison of Yudhishthira Maharaj to the king of heaven is significant. The king of heaven, Indra, is thousands and thousands of times greater than Maharaj Yudhishthira in opulence. Yet the fame of Maharaj Yudhishthira was not less. The reason why is because Maharaj Yudhishthira was a pure devotee of the Lord. And it's by the grace only was King Yudhishthira on the level of King Heaven, the level of Indra, where here he's been saying that he performed 3 Ashwamedha Yajnas like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. So how he is brought to a basically more glorious position than Indra. This is a prerogative of a devotee of the Lord. The Lord is equal to everyone, but a devotee of the Lord is more glorified because he is always in touch with the Almighty. The sun rays, Prabhupada writes, the sun rays are equally distributed. The sun never takes that, okay, I'm not going to give my shine here or there. No, the sun rays are equally distributed. But still there are places which are always dark. So it's whose fault? It's the fault of a sun? No, this is not due to the sun, but to the receptive power. Similarly, those who are 100% devotees of the Lord gets the full-fledged mercy of the Lord, which is always equally distributed everywhere. I've heard people saying that, oh, right now the Lord is not merciful on me. That's why I'm suffering. That's why I'm going through some reversals in my life. But that should not be the mood. The mood is that the Lord is always merciful. Why do we expect that only when some good, conducive environment is there, when everything is happy-go-lucky going around in our life, we feel that, oh, the mercy of Vaishnavas and the mercy of the Supreme Lord is abundantly showered on us? No. Sometimes the reversals that comes in our life are also the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Like we have seen in the case of Nalakuvera and Manigrava. They were cursed by Narad Muni. But see how that curse turned into a blessing. That immediately they were cursed and they became trees in the courtyard of Nand Maharaj, where every day they were able to witness the childhood pastimes of Krishna. Those childhood pastimes of Krishna that even doesn't, nobody, Lord Shiva has to come down to see the baby form of Krishna. And these sweet childhood pastimes of Krishna were witnessed by Nalakuvera and Manigrava, though they were in tree body. And then what happened? Immediately got liberated, went to Krishna Lok. And today also, it is being explained as Madhu Kanta and Snigdha Kanta. They are reciting these childhood pastimes of Krishna in Krishna Lok, in Golok Vrindavan, in the assembly of Nand Maharaj. So how glorious that position is. So therefore, Krishna, he is Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. He is equal to everybody. To some, reversals are blessings. To some, a nice environment is a blessing. But ultimately, we have to see that Krishna is Suhrit Sarva Bhutana. He is the ever well-wisher. He is always Mangala Bhavana. So he cannot do a mangal to anybody. He cannot bring auspiciousness in the life of anyone. So if we feel some reversals in our life, we should immediately bring Pandavas in our thought. What was the fault of the Pandavas? How much reversals they went through? But it was all the blessings of Lord Shri Krishna. So those who are 100% devotees of the Lord get the full-fledged mercy of the Lord. So Krishna's mercy is ever flowing. It's like a rain, it's like a sunshine. So it's ever flowing. It's up to us whether we carry that umbrella of our false ego and restrict ourselves to bathe in those rainwaters of Lord Krishna's mercy. Or we put thick curtains to our windows and don't want those sunshine to penetrate and bring illumination in our room. So who is at fault? The person who is on the receptive side. Otherwise, the Lord's mercy is always flowing. Krishna's mercy is always flowing. Then we see that why we feel that we are not getting enough mercy, that is our thought process, that is our perception. And yes, sometimes we are bereft, we feel that we are bereft, but again, it is not the Supreme Lord's fault, it is our fault. We as a patra, we as a vessel, we are not good. We have that holes in our vessel. We have those anarthas of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mad, matsarya in our heart, because of which we don't become the true recipient of Krishna's mercy. So Krishna's mercy is ever flowing, ever growing, but we as a vessel should try to seal those holes, right? And how we can seal those holes? By staying under the like-minded association of devotees. Only then we will be able to seal those holes, we'll cover those holes, and we'll become the true recipient. But at the same time, being grateful to the Lord every moment of our life. Text 7. आमन्त्र्य पाण्डुपुत्रांश्च सैन्य उद्धव संयुता द्वापायनादिभिर्विप्रैः पूजिता प्रतिपूजिता. Somebody can read translation.
Lord Sri Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the sons of Pandu after having been worshipped by the Brahmanas headed by Srila Vyasadeva. The Lord also reciprocated greetings.
Thank you. Amantraya. Amantraya means inviting. to invite somebody. Panduputramscha, the sons of the Pandu, means Lord Krishna, he was preparing for his departure. So he invited everybody. He invited the sons of Pandu, means all the Pandavas, along with Sainya. Sainya here refers to Satyaki. Prabhupada also says, right? Satyaki, we know, we have, last time also we read, that Satyaki was a chieftain of Krishna's Narayani Sena. And he was actually always assisting Krishna. He was the one who also came as when Krishna came as a peace messenger, Satyaki was with Krishna when he came as a peace messenger. So with Satyaki, Uddhava, along with Uddhav. So Uddhav was also there, some Yuddha. And then the rishis like Vyasadev, Dwapayana. So our Vyasadev was also there, Vipra and all other Brahmanas. And they all worshipped the Supreme Lord. And the Lord also reciprocated their greetings. Now here Prabhupada writes that actually we see that Lord Krishna was a Kshatriya. So how can he accept the worship by the Brahmanas? The Brahmanas are supposed to be worshipped. The Vipras, Vyasadev, they have to be worshipped. But the Brahmanas present there, headed by Srila Vyasadev, they all knew him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore they worshipped him. And that's why this Agra Puja also happened in the assembly of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Because everybody accepted Lord Shri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, even after knowing there were some miscreants like Duryodhana and all the Dushasan and all other gurus who didn't accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is how we understand that they are spiritually blinded. Even after having eyes, they were not able to see Krishna. So the Lord reciprocated the greetings just to honor the social order, that a Kshatriya is obedient on the orders of the Brahmanas. So very beautifully Prabhupada writes that Lord didn't think, well, yes, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead and they know about it, and so I deserve it. No. The Lord said, okay, if the Brahmana says that I have to be worshipped, so be it. Because still he's working under his Kshatriya thing, that yes, I am a Kshatriya and I have to honor. I have to honor the request of the Brahmanas. So although Lord Shri Krishna was always offered the respects due to the Supreme Lord from all responsible quarters, the Lord never deviated from the customary usages between the four orders of society. And the Lord purposely observed all these social customs so that others would follow him in the future. Yad yad acharatri sheshtas. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am beyond all these things. I'm beyond all the karmas. But still I perform, because when I perform, others tend to follow. He wants to become exemplary, set the standards by following his own example. So that's what the Lord did. He accepted the greetings of the Brahmanas and he very kindly, compassionately, he reciprocated with them. But as he was leaving, something happened. Gantum kritamatir brahman dwarkam ratham astita upalibdha bida vantim uttaram bhaya vivlaham. Somebody can read translation.
Hare Krishna, Mati Dhanur Pranam. I can read.
Yes.
As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwarka, he saw Uttara hurrying toward him in fear.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Dantam Kritami Yatir Brahman Dwarakam. He was proceeding where? He was going to Dwarka. The battlefield of Kurukshetra was over. Final rites were over. Krishna pacified everybody. Everybody was okay. Maharaj Yudhishthira was enthroned as the king, as Kurupati. But then what happened? When Krishna was he was on his Ratha. Last verse we saw that he invited Uddhava, Satyaki and all the sons of the Pandu, all the Pandavas. He invited them. He was on his chariot, about to leave. At that time, Piridavantim, in a very aggressive, in a very hurried way, who was coming? Uttaram Bhaya Viblavam. Uttara came because she was terrified. She was very, very afraid. All the members of the family of the Pandavas were completely dependent on the protection of the Lord. And therefore, the Lord protected them in all circumstances. Avashya Rakshive Krishna Vishwasa Palana. That is one limb of Sharanagati that Krishna will protect. And more we surrender, the more Lord reciprocates and the Lord protects his devotees. The Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely upon him is specially looked after by the Lord. And that is why it says the Lord is not partial. Lord is not partial, but definitely the Lord says, those who are in me, I am in them. Means those who go to extra effort, extra steps to worship me, to surrender me, to take care of me, to honor me, I take extra steps to honor them. Aham Bhakta Paradina. I am dependent on my bhaktas because I become a sold out servant to my bhaktas. So the Lord protects everyone, Prabhupada is writing, but one who depends completely upon him is specially looked by the Lord. Personally, he looks for them. Avashya Rakshive Krishna Vishwasa Pala. The father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusively dependent on the father. So this also we know that if one father, he has 10 sons, or can say 5 sons, but the 5th one, the youngest one, or any one of the child, forget about the youngest one, if any one of the child is physically challenged, is not able to do their own things, then that child will be favored by the father because that child is completely dependent upon the father. It's not the child. The father has some discrimination that I don't love my other children. But the son that loves the father or is dependent on the father is loved by the father the most. So this regard also there is a small kind of allegorical story that there was one father and he has 5 children and he brought some food for everybody. And everybody, as soon as they got this food, everybody started eating. But one son, what he did, he took the small bite from that food and first offered to his father. So naturally, the father's love was deeply touched. He was deeply touched by the love of his son, and naturally, the reciprocation from that father is more. He took that child, kept it on his lap, and so this is the extra love that the father shows. So similarly, our Krishna is Sarva Bhuta, is Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, Name Dvishtina Priya. Krishna says, I don't have any animosity towards any of the living entities. But those who worship me, those who are in me, I am in them. So if I show some extra mercy on them, if I show some extra attention to them, that is not my partiality. That is my reciprocation. So we should never think that Krishna is partial. Actually, Krishna is impartial. But what we see is Krishna's reciprocation. Even if we see ourselves in the mundane life also, those who are very kind to us, gentle to us, we show some extra love to them. It's not that we hate others, but because when they take extra effort, we take extra effort just to help them or to be friend with them or to be gentle with them, to be kind with them. And that is what is Krishna. This quality is coming directly from Krishna only. Ultimate source is Krishna. We are getting those qualities is from Krishna only. So Krishna also specially looked after those who are 100% dependent on Krishna. Where Krishna says, Yogakshemam Mahamyam, I'll do everything for them. And even to Arjun, he says, Name Bhakta Pranashyati, go Arjun, declare that my devotees will never perish. Because Krishna takes extra effort to protect his devotees. So this is the analogy that Prabhupada gives. The father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusive dependent on father. So now our Uttara, she came. So what she said, Uttaro vacha pahi pahi mahayogin deva deve jagatpate nanyam tvad abhayam pashe yatra mrityu parasparam. So now she says, pahi pahi, oh please protect me, please protect me. Oh Mahayogi, you are the great mystic. So here, first thing that we have to understand is that when we are also asking for any help, any protection from the Supreme Lord, we also have to glorify. This is the aspect of the prayers. It's not just we immediately start listing out, oh Krishna, I want this. Even if we are Sakam Bhaktas, even if we want something. But the aspect of some aspects of the prayers are to be followed. And those aspects of the prayers are to first pay obeisances, to glorify the Supreme Lord, and then ask what you want. So she is saying, you are Mahayogi. She is glorifying. You are the greatest mystic. And you are Deva Deva Jagatpate. You are the Lord of the universe and you are worshipped by the Devatas. Right? So Nanyam Tot Abhayam Pashe. I don't see anybody else. This also shows Uttara's ananyata towards Lord Shri Krishna. So she says, Nanyam Tot Abhayam Pashe. I don't see anybody else who can give me fearlessness because I'm very much terrified. I'm very much afraid. And because of what? Death is approaching me. Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. This death is approaching me. Now, this Mrityu Parasparam, we have to understand where Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that this death is a mutual thing. It is parasparam in the sense that one person causes another's death and someone else causes the death of another person. Okay, so this is a mutual thing. In Hindi we say, right, bahana banna hota hai. There is some kind of logic that has to be put that, okay, doctors, there was fault from the doctor side, there is a fault from the organ side, or some accident happened, something or the other. It happens, but because death is inevitable. So therefore she's saying, Mrityu Yatra Mrityu Parasparam, this death which is inevitable and which is actually the true satya of the life, that death will happen. Please save me from that death. Now, Krishna may think, well, Uttara, are you thinking of yourself? That you are coming and praying to me because you want protection from death? So then we'll see what she says in the next. But right now, she says that, oh, I want that fearlessness because death is approaching me very fast. Somebody can read translation.
Hare Krishna. Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me. Protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality.
Thank you. So she says, please protect me, please protect me. Pahi Pahi Mahayogin, please protect me. Prabhupada says, this material world is a world of duality. Yes, in contrast with the oneness of the absolute realm. In the absolute realm, everything is good. It's Vaikunta, there is no Kunta. But this place is not Vaikunta, it is Saikunta. It is always with something. It is the world of duality. And the world of duality is composed of matter and spirit. Whereas in absolute world, it's complete spirit. In the dual world, everyone is falsely trying to become the master of the world. Whereas in the absolute world, only Lord is the absolute and all others are his absolute servitors. Ekeleshwara Krishna Arasabhavritya. Yare yache nachai tare kare nritya. Only our Supreme Lord is Ishvara and we are simply dancing on his tunes. So in the world of duality, everyone is envious of all others. And death is inevitable due to the dual existence of matter and spirit. But the Lord is the only shelter of fearlessness for the surrendered soul. The Lord is the only one, because the Lord claims one cannot save himself from the cruel hand of death in the material world without having surrendered himself at the lotus feet of the Lord. Sakradeva prapanna stavasmiti yachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etat kritam. Lord Ram, when he accepted Vibhishan, and that Sharanagati by Vibhishan happened, at that time the Lord made this vow. This is my vow, he said, that even if somebody surrenders to once, Abhayam Sarvada Tasmai, I give him the entire fearlessness. And thinking this, Uttara approached. And therefore, Nanyam Tam Abhayam Pashya. She says, I find no one else who can give me protection. And this is the Ananyata. This is the Ananyata that we have to show. When we undergo reversals in our life, we should not run here and thither to this demigod, to that demigod. No, that ananyata should be towards only the Supreme Lord. That my Supreme Lord will protect my Ishtadev will protect me. And therefore, Putra also came running to Lord Shri Krishna. She didn't go to anyone else. She came straight to Lord Shri Krishna. She called upon helplessly, Pahi Pahi Mahayogi, O Deva Devi Jagatpate, Nanyam Tad Abhayam Pasha Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. Please save me. So now Krishna may think, okay, so you are coming for your protection. You want protection from death. Then she says, no, Krishna, actually not. Abhitravati Mamisha Sharastap Taptayasho Vibhu Khamam Dahatu Mam Natha Mame Garbho Nipatyatam. That no, Krishna, I'm not approaching you to save me from death. I'm not fearful for death of my own self. I'm running towards you. I'm coming. Why? Because there is some fierce arrow. Charas tapta. Tapta means a great fiery arrow is coming and is approaching me. But if you think, Kamam dahatu mamnatha, if you think that somebody has to be burned, then I should let I myself be burned. Mamen, but not. Ma again means no, not my garbha. No, I don't want my soul who is in my body, that embryo should suffer. So I'm coming, I'm approaching you, I'm crying helplessly to ask this favor from you to protect my embryo, to not to protect. If somebody has to leave that body, let me leave. Let that weapon kill me. Let that weapon burn me, but not my embryo. Please protect my embryo. So she says that I'm not calling out for my own thing, but I want to protect this womb of mine. Parikshit Maharaj. Yes, Satyam Prabhu, first read the translation, then we'll see for your question.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
Oh my Lord, you are all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally if you so desire, but please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, Kamam Dahatu. If you desire, then let me burn, but save my embryo. Yes, Satyam Prabhu, you have some question?
Mataji, I was thinking, like, how come Uttara knew this? Like, the Kshatrama has cast another arrow.
No, she didn't know who has cast. She knows that there is one fiery arrow that is approaching me. She doesn't know what happened. She doesn't know who shot that arrow. But she only has this thing in her mind that one fiery arrow is approaching me, and naturally, if the mother is killed, then the embryo will be finished, right? So she says, I don't worry about my death. If I have to be burned by that fiery arrow, let it be, but please save my embryo. So she didn't know who was shot, what has happened. She only saw that one fiery arrow was approaching towards her. Okay,
Is it like when we have something bad is going to happen, sometimes we have like a instinct, natural instinct or something that is it that how Uttara was perceiving this, or how come
No,
she can...
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur doesn't say that it was some sixth sense or some instinct that made Uttara run towards Krishna, but actually she saw that a fiery arrow was approaching her.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. This incident took place after the death of Abhimanyu, the husband of Uttara. So Abhimanyu's widow Uttara should have followed the path of her husband. She would have undergone sati when Abhimanyu died, but she didn't. Why? Because she was pregnant. And Maharaj Parikshit, the great devotee of the Lord, was lying in embryo and she was responsible for his protection. So the mother of a child had a great responsibility in giving all protection to the child. And therefore, Uttara was not ashamed to express this frankly before Lord Shri Krishna. Normally, the pregnant ladies, they try to hide, right? It's a normal tradition. It's a kind of, the woman doesn't want to expose. But here, Uttara was not shameful because she was carrying the hair of the entire Pandav dynasty. So she was not shameful, but she was running towards Krishna to please save me. Uttara was she was a daughter of a great king. She was the daughter of King Virat. She was the wife of a great hero, Abhimanyu. She was the student of a great devotee, Arjun. Arjun taught her dance. And later, she was the mother of a good king also. She was the mother of Parikshit Maharaj. So she was fortunate in every respect, Prabhupada writes. Now, Sutta Vacha, Sutta Goswami is now telling to Shaunakadi Rishi. Upadharya vachastasya bhagavan bhaktavatsala apandavamivam kartum draunir astram abudhyata. So now Sutta Goswami is saying that when Uttara came running towards Krishna, that time Krishna understood. Previous that, of course, he is the Lord, he knows everything. But it's nowhere mentioned that he expressed this because he was ready to leave for Dwarka. But when Uttara came running, that time he understood that not only Uttara, even my Pandavas, all the Pandavas, they are also in danger. So being Bhaktavatsala, the Supreme Lord Bhaktavatsala, he understood Drauner Astram Abhyuta, that Drauner, the son of Drona, has shot another Brahmastra, and not one Brahmastra towards the embryo of Uttara, but many Brahmastras. So previously we saw that how he shot one Brahmastra, which was retracted by Arjun. And then Ashwathama was punished and the money was taken out, head was shaved off, and he was thrown out. But he was released. After being released, also, Ashwathama, his anger didn't get pacified. His insult, what he felt, took over him. And that's why he shot many Brahmastras after that. So this is also Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions in his Tika, that it's not that another one Brahmastra was shot by Ashwathama to the womb of Uttara. No, many Brahmastras were shot by Ashwathama. Somebody can read translation.
Sutta Goswami said, having patiently heard her words, Lord Sri Krishna, who is always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwathama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandavas' family. Hare Krishna.
So here also it is mentioned that he has thrown the last Brahmastra. He has thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandava family. But actually, it's not the one Brahmastra. It was many Brahmastra that were shot by Ashwathama. Prabhupada writes, the Lord is impartial in every respect, but still he is inclined towards his devotees because there is a great necessity for this, for everyone's well-being. The Pandava family was a family of devotees and therefore the Lord wanted them to rule. That is why this entire Kurukshetra war took place. That was the reason he vanquished the rule of the company of Duryodhan and established the rule of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Therefore, he wanted to protect Parikshit Maharaj, who was lying in the embryo. He did not like the idea that the world should be without the Pandavas, the ideal family of devotee. So he wanted to protect the Pandavas as well as the embryo. That we will see in the next verse. Tarhyevath muni shrestha Pandava pancha sayakan atmano bhimuk mukhan deeptan alakshastrani upadahu. Somebody can read the translation.
O foremost among the great thinkers, Munis, Shaunaka, seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, Pandava took up their 5 respective weapons.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. So here is the thing that even the Pandavas saw. So Satyam Prabhu, now here also you can relate that Uttara also saw that one Brahmastra was following, one fiery weapon. She didn't know whether it's Brahmastra or what or who shot, but she knew that one fiery weapon is approaching. And not only that, then the Pandavas also saw some glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them. And the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons to counteract those 5 weapons, the 5 Brahmastras that were shot by Ashwatthama, Drauna, by the son of Drauna. So it was not the one Brahmastra, it was many Brahmastras that were shot. At least 5 for 5 Pandavas and 1 for Uttara's womb. So actually 6. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, many Brahmastras were shot by Ashwatthama. And therefore, all these 5 Pandavas, they also took their respective weapons because they were seeing that Brahmastra proceeding towards them also. So they also took up their 5 respective weapons. Prabhupada writes, the Brahmastras are the finer than the nuclear weapons of this today's world that we see. Today's nuclear weapon will destroy the entire community, but Brahmastra is particular for a particular person. Ashwatthama discharged the Brahmastra simply to kill the Pandavas. Here also there is what Prabhupada is supporting. That he discharged the Brahmastra simply to kill the Pandavas, namely the 5 brothers headed by Maharaj Yudhishthira and their only grandson who was lying within the womb of Uttara. Therefore, the Brahmastra, more effective and finer than the atomic weapons, was not as blind as the atomic bombs that we see. When the atomic bombs are discharged, they do not discriminate between the target and others. Mainly the atomic bombs do harm to the innocent also because there is no control. But Brahmastra is not like that. It marks out the target and proceeds accordingly without harming the innocent. So when he thought that I want to kill the Pandavas, it's not that the Subhadra Devi, Kunti Devi, Draupadi Devi, everybody will be affected. Yes, after effects may be there, but the Brahmastra will not affect them because it was one-pointed. It was to kill all the male members because he wants this entire dynasty to collapse. But man proposes, God disposes. How can Krishna allow this? Because Krishna took all his effort so that Maharaj Yudhishthira should be enthroned, so that the rule of the Duryodhan should go away. So how can Krishna let go all his efforts in vain? He is going to protect everybody. Right? So here also we see that it was many Brahmastras that was shot. Yes, Saudamani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, I was thinking that Brahmastra is only, it goes towards a target only. Then
Yes.
why this elaborate Kurukshetra war took place? Only Duryodhan was creating problem, no Mataji. Like so many soldiers were killed during the war.
So you want to say that only one Brahmastra should be shot against Duryodhan and end of everything? No, everybody participated in humiliation of Draupadi. Why only Duryodhan? Duryodhan, all the 100 sons, when she was being humiliated, attempted to be disrobed in the society, in the assembly of Kurus, none of the sons of Kaurava, this Dhritarashtra, they stood up, none of them except one. None of them otherwise retaliated to what was going on. Bhishma Pitama was equally important. Dronacharya equally supported. So definitely everybody, when they have participated in this humiliation, they have to bear the karmas. Right. So this entire war happened. So
Those who did not participate, Mataji, like even the many soldiers from Pandava side also, they also died during the war.
and because everybody was under the stringent laws of karma, that's what Krishna says, right? Everybody was under the stringent laws of karmas. That was the destiny, that was the fate. So they have to undergo.
Yes.
Yes. Abhimanyu has to be killed. So that's what I was telling, that if you are being protected, that protection is not the only protection of Krishna. Abhimanyu was killed. Pandavas were very dear to Krishna. If Krishna wanted, was it impossible for him to protect Abhimanyu, his own nephew? No, it was not impossible for him. But even Krishna can't intervene when the stringent laws of time, karma works. That's why it says your prarabdha are never destroyed. Those prarabdha that are being taken when this entire body is made, yes, the intensity can be reduced, but you have to undergo the stringent laws of time and karma. So that could not have been possible. That yes, your point is right, that Brahmastra is one pointed, then this entire Kurukshetra war can be avoided. But no, that was the destiny that was supposed to happen, that was destined to happen. So Krishna tried his best. He came as a peace messenger, but it was inevitable. Nothing can stop that war because of the ego clashes that happens. Yes, Sadavani Mataji.
Yes.
Yes, Satyam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Related to Abhimanyu Mataji, I heard one story, not sure it's true, like that he was the son of like Chandradev, right? And so he couldn't kind of separation, he was not able to son separation, he was not able to kind of cope up with. So he actually prayed to Lord Krishna that okay, he will also come during when you are in the Buloka, that but I want my son back as soon as possible. So that's why he was killed like so early stage of the life, that he can go back to his dad. So I heard that story, but I'm not sure whether it's like an authentic story or not.
I'm also hearing from you. Maybe it's an authentic, but I have no comments on this because I've never heard.
Right. No, I just thought I could share this.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Yes, Anisha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, I was just curious, like, why Dhritarashtra was not killed? Because he was one of the major culprits.
He didn't fight in the battlefield.
Yes, he didn't, but it could have been arranged by Krishna somehow. But how come he was not?
Because Krishna has different plans for Dhritarashtra. He was supposed to be held responsible because Vidur has to come and chastise him that you are acting like a dog. You are still staying on the mercy of Yudhishthira Maharaj. There are so many reasons, right? And first of all, he was blind. He didn't participate in the war. So unnecessary, it was no need. Like one arrow has to be shot on Dhritarashtra also. He has his own destiny. He has to suffer. He has to lament. See, death is an easier way to get rid from all kind of sufferings. It's a very easy way, right? More we live, the more we suffer. So Dhritarashtra was the main cause. So he has to suffer more. Right? So Krishna didn't want that, and that was not the destiny of Dhritarashtra. The point is, Mataji, we have to understand that even Krishna doesn't interfere in our reactions to it, karma reactions. Krishna doesn't interfere. We are all bound by the stringent laws of nature. Yes, this Prakriti is subordinate to Krishna. Krishna is Maya Dhish. He is the Ishwar of Maya. If he wants, he can do everything. But sometimes Krishna also doesn't intervene. We see so many pure souls, they suffer so much. It's not that they are not surrendered. Can Krishna not take away their sufferings? But no, Krishna doesn't interfere. Something which is destined to happen happens. And Krishna let that happen so that it brings more purification from that sin. The same thing for Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra, he was otherwise, before he was, means, in one sense, you can say that, yes, he was physically blinded, he was spiritually also blinded because of that ego he was carrying. But again, Dhritarashtra's story, we know that how he was a hunter and how he shot those 100 birds and he was cursed that you will also see the death of your 100 children. So there, Mahabharata also explains that Dhritarashtra, just to fulfill that curse, he has to undergo so many pious lives. So many pious lives. Because to get one son, you need a lot of piety. And there, Dhritarashtra has to get 100 sons. So it is being explained for so many lifetimes. He has performed so many pious activities that he got so much of piety that in this life, he came as Dhritarashtra and got 100 sons, and then the curse manifested. So yes, Krishna can do anything, can go out of the way also, but he goes out of the way only to protect his devotees, those who are surrendered to him. Dhritarashtra was not. And so Krishna let go. Okay, you are under the laws of nature, let the law of nature only work for you.
He had to live to lament for his.
Have to live to lament, yes.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Satyam Prabhu.
So Mataji, more I attend these classes, the fundamentals in like concepts explained in Bhagavad Gita, it's more gets clear. Like when we talk about so many births, we only see like Dhritarashtra in one birth, right? In Mahabharata, what we know, but we never know. We don't know like what he has done in previous births. Then one thing I found this fascinating, and every time we cannot question Krishna's plan. Like we don't know what's the plan is. If we try to question, we are like I mean, there is no point of questioning. We'll get more confused.
Used more illusion.
Yeah.
Very true. That's why Prabhupada says that don't try to locate when you fell down, what happened, when did you desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. Accept the Shastras that we desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. Until now we are desiring. That's why we are still in this material world, lamenting and suffering every day. So, yes, we have to learn all this from the Shastras. Yes, thank you, Satyam.
With all these things which were, asked that why Krishna did not do for Dhritarashtra or, Brahmastra for Yudhishthira and things and all. So they are petty things. Why we not think that why Krishna did not make everybody devotee in the first place? That's a bigger question and desire. But Krishna says that the free will which Krishna has given, he will not interfere in that. And based on the execution of the free will, the karmic reactions will be collected and that will be borne by the individual soul. So that's how the whole cycle goes. So Krishna is not intervening in the free will, and rest everything is placed as the plan of the karmic reactions. I just wanted to point that the whole thing is the free will, and based on that, everybody is getting their own karmic reactions.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, so as Nisha Mataji was asking, to separately go and kill Dhritarashtra. Oh, if Krishna wanted, he would have changed the mind of Duryodhana itself. Duryodhana would have agreed. Even he would have not been born envious. But that didn't happen. So everybody has their own quota, has their own thing. They have to undergo, they have to suffer, they have to perform. So the more Krishna conscious we become, the more surrendered devotees we become, the more we realize that actually we have to do it for Krishna. Even Arjun was having the same thing, right? He was thinking that if I fight and kill my own kinsman, my own grandfather, my own spiritual master, I'll bear sinful reactions to it, which is true. But Krishna says that Ma Manuswaram Yuddhacha, or do your all karmic reactions, do your all karmic things, activities. Even if you have to fight, do it for me. I want you to do it, so do it. So if we are doing it for Krishna, then of course there are no reactions to it. Otherwise, for all pious and impious, we have to come back, we have to suffer. Neutralization doesn't happen. It's not that 5 good karmas, 4 bad karmas neutralized, and then I have to come and suffer 1 good karma. You have to come back for 5 good karmas also, and to bear 4 bad karmas also. So that free will is only given to us by Krishna because he wants us to come and approach him with love, not out of some fear or some kind of pressure, but he wants all the souls to come back to Krishna out of love. And we have to understand that we jivas are only handful. We see that eternity in this world. Prabhupada writes, right? That we see this, our possessions, our families, and few 50, 60, 70, 80 years as the eternal life. But that's not true. That's only what? Some fraction of second for Krishna. So we are just handful of us. We are in one path vibhuti. Imagine Krishna's entire creation, the spiritual world, material world. If you see it's a complete circle, 100%, then all the material universes that Karnadakshay Vishnu is emanating from every pore of his body, those entire material existence is one path, is one part of this entire circle. It's one path vibhuti. And out of those so many universes, our universe is one. So it's naturally how much? A mustard seed, and in those mustard seed, we are those small, small, small little souls and having so big, big ego. So if we see we are just limited, and Krishna doesn't want those because we are, Prabhupada says that we in this material world shows that we have done something against the law, against the king. That's why we are in the prison house. So how many are there? If we see in our own society also, in our own world also, the king builds the prison house. But there are so handful of prisoners. And king wants all those prisoners to surrender. Otherwise, they have to bear. So we all have to bear our own things. The more we surrender, the more we will be out of these clutches of Maya. Mameva hi prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Krishna says, you surrender unto me and then I'll give you all the abhaya. Hope that helps. With that, I think so. It's no more point in continuing. We'll stop here. Yes, Satyam Prabhu, you have something to say.
Yes, Mataji. So I was just remembering even Narad Muni, right? So in the previous birth, Krishna gave him one time darshan, and then like, okay, I don't want to give any more darshan. You just like continue your devotion more, gets purified. If that happens with Narad Muni, then we are like, yeah, it's there is no. It's like totally Krishna's. That's why after so many classes and like watching videos, I probably try to understand a little bit of like what is causeless. This word everywhere we see in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, causeless mercy of Krishna. So there is no cause, like there is no hetu. We cannot just, yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. So he was also Narad Muni. First, he was a Gandharva, Upabharana. And then he came as the son of a maidservant. And then in the next millennium, in the next Kalpa, we got Narad Muni as a body of Narad. So if he has to be here, then what to talk about? You and me. Okay, so thank you. We'll stop here. Text 13, we will continue on Thursday. Priti Vilasni Mataji will be there finally. She's free now. So 13th onwards, she'll continue. I thought of covering more, but it's okay. From 13 onwards, we will see. Actually, it's good that we stopped here, because from 13 onwards, Krishna will take up his weapon, his Sudarshan, and he'll not only protect the embryo of Uttara, but he'll protect all the Pandavas also. Though Pandavas have taken out their weapon to fight against that fiery weapon, Brahmastra, but still Krishna will take care, and Krishna will take up his Sudarshan Chakra, his Sudarshan disc, to protect the Pandavas. And of course, the womb of Uttara, and how he will protect, and everything that will be explained in the later section. And after that, beautiful prayers of Maharani Kunti will be explained. Very beautiful chapter. So, yeah, we'll continue text 13. We'll stop here. So thank you so much. I hope there are no further questions, no further corrections. Okay, so let's pay our obeisances. Svancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti vaishnavvrinda ki jai. Paad ki jai. Granth Bhagavatam ki jai. All the assembled Vaishnavas ki jai.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for the wonderful class. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.